The John Howard Society received a check from the Provincial Minister of Justice, Jim McCrae, today. The society was formed 25 years ago with the intention of providing services to persons and groups who are involved in any level of crime rehabilitation in the system, constructive reform to the justice system, and to stimulate the concern and participation of the community in crime prevention. As Scott Dickey, the executive director of the society, tells us, the money will be used for implementation of a new program aimed at educating younger people about the criminal justice.
We'll be going towards the development of a curriculum for a community education program. The program, we've come up with the idea of what we want to do, which is to take the Young Offenders Act into the junior high level schools in Brandon as well as southwestern Manitoba. Basically to educate those students on their responsibilities to the Young Offenders Act and then the criminal justice system. The money that we got today basically is to develop the package of what we want to deliver to those students.
Some of the programs the John Howard Society is responsible for are fine option programs, general intake services, an employment strategy program, and an adult literacy program aimed at achieving functional literacy for its participants. Provincial Minister of Justice Jim McCrae was on hand to present the check on behalf of the provincial government, and he took the opportunity to note that the John Howard Society does more than just provide services for people in criminal rehabilitation.
Much, much more. It would be incorrect to suggest that the John Howard Society's only goal is to work with and assist people who have found themselves in difficulty with the law. And certainly that is an important part of their work. But as we see today, the John Howard Society, as part of, they're members of our communities too, and they're as much interested in the prevention of crime and keeping people from getting into difficulty in the first place. I mean, every time people come into the system, that puts more pressure on the John Howard Society too. So we all have the same goals, I believe, in mind. And
the president of the Manitoba Metis Federation wants a meeting with the Prime Minister to improve relations between Métis people and the federal government. Yvon Dumont met with MPs Jake Epp and Mary Collins today in Winnipeg and asked them to deliver his message. Dumont says the federal government has never admitted it's responsible for the Métis people. He says he'd like Ottawa to make a political decision to deal with the Métis. The Métis leader says Epp told him he would first have to meet with Justice Minister Kim Campbell. Dumont said he also wants to talk about Métis land claims in Manitoba. The Supreme Court of Canada has ruled that the Manitoba Métis Federation can take Ottawa and Manitoba to court to try to prove laws passed in the 1870s and 1880s took their land away and violated the Constitution. A Manitoba Court of Queen's Bench trial is expected this spring. A research team at Winnipeg's Health Sciences Centre is on the verge of improving a drug that helps organ transplants. Research coordinator Dr. Randall Yatskoff says an improved type of cyclosporin will be tested in North America to see if it prevents transplant patients from rejecting their new organs. Yatskoff adds they're hoping that new drug doesn't have the side effects of the old drug. The Manitoba Health Research Council and Sandoz Canada, a Swiss-based pharmaceutical company, donated $350,000 for the study. Oil companies are being warned the Manitoba government won't stand for much higher gasoline prices. In letters to the oil companies, Consumer Affairs Minister Ed Connery says he has indicated Manitoba will slap controls on gas prices if they keep rising. He says the government's main concern during the Persian Gulf crisis is protecting consumers from price gouging. Connery is to meet with oil executives this week to outline government options. Tory MP Stan Corbett says he and his common colleagues who are heading for Iraq are prepared to speak with anyone who can help. Corbett, Liberal Lloyd Axworthy, and New Democrat Sven Robinson hope to reach Baghdad on Monday. Iraq gave them clearance for the trip today. The three hope to persuade Iraqis to release the Canadians they've been holding hostage since the August 2nd invasion of Kuwait. Well, the third annual Brandon and District JC's Special Olympic Swim Meet was held this afternoon in Shiloh. We have more of the details in this report.
Let me win. But if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt.
With that, the head coach of the Brandon University Bobcats, Jerry Hemmings, kicked off the third annual Special Olympics Invitational Swim Meet in Shiloh. MLA Harold Gillishammer and Brandon Councillor Jeff Harwood were among other dignitaries on hand. The meet is one of 4 held throughout the province on an annual basis. Clubs are invited to attend from all over the province to participate in the event. Most of these athletes are from the Brandon and Winnipeg area. Sharon Ballenbach is the technical director of the Western Manitoba region for Special Olympics. She told us that while this particular event is not a championship competition, it is important for the participants.
This particular meet is not a qualifying event for any further competition, so it's not a qualifier for provincial games or anything like that. It's an invitational meet that allows our athletes to get another experience in a competitive situation. Many of the swimmers and the swim clubs that are here today have been to this meet before. They enjoy coming outside of Winnipeg to a meet that's that they get to travel to and that they're not hosting. So it's kind of a treat for a lot of our Winnipeg swimmers to come out and experience this event, and sort of in a competitive atmosphere, but not sort of nerve-wracking in that it's not a qualifier for a higher event.
Sharon notes that there is a lot of value for the participants in sports events such as these.
There's a lot of things that you get from competing in sports, whether it be social, the opportunity of learning the experience of winning or losing, and just these guys train a lot. They practice once a week in their swim clubs and prepare for events such as this, and so it's an opportunity for them to sort of show their stuff, and they all have a good time.
As with most sports events, volunteers play a big part in planning and organizing a sports meet, and this one is no exception.
We probably have around 20 to 25 volunteers out here today. People who are on the organizing committee, people who are looking after the awards area. We have timers, marshalers who are getting the athletes up to the start line, people who are looking after the awards area. We have a typist back in the office who's doing results as they happen. So there's a lot of people and a lot of behind-the-scenes people that you're not going to maybe see out here on the pool deck, but people who have put a lot of work into putting on the event.
Taking a look at the Western Manitoba forecast, tonight a few cloudy periods, light southwest winds with a low of -3. Variable cloudiness for Sunday, light winds becoming southwesterly in the afternoon and a high near 7 degrees. The low Sunday night near -6. Monday's outlook mostly cloudy and windy, a high near 3 degrees expected. The probability of precipitation 10% for tonight, 20% for Sunday, and 20% for Monday as well. Taking a look at the temperatures around the region this hour, Portage is 3. It's 3 in Winnipeg as well. Dauphin reports 2 degrees, -4 in Pilot Mound. Melita +2 this hour. Clear Lake -2. Broadview's in at 0 degrees. It's -1 in Yorkton and +7 degrees in Minot. Currently in western Manitoba, under partly cloudy skies, winds are west at 13 kilometers. The relative humidity 59%. And currently in Brandon, the temperature is 1 degree. Taking a look at tonight's scoreboard in the NHL, Philadelphia was over New Jersey 3-2. Boston managed a 1-1 tie with Montreal. Hartford over Washington 4-2. Chicago slammed Quebec 7-2. The slumping Calgary Flames managed a 3-3 tie with Buffalo. Detroit, Steve Yzerman scored 3 in the first 12 minutes of the game to lead the Red Wings to an 8-4 decision over Toronto. St. Louis won their 8th straight game with a 3-2 decision over Minnesota, and Pittsburgh and Los Angeles no score available at this time. In Western Hockey League action, the Wheat Kings lost their 8th in a row. They lost 5-2 to the Prince Albert Raiders. Kamloops lost to the Medicine Hat Tigers 6-5. It was Moose Jaw over Saskatoon 5-2. Portland and Victoria no score after the first period, and Spokane won Seattle no score after the first period. In Manitoba Junior Hockey League action, the Dauphin Kings dumped the Portage Terriers 9-4. In Canada West Hockey League action at the Sportsplex, Kelly Anderson scored 3 times to lead the Brandon University Bobcats to an 8-2 victory over the Lethbridge Pronghorns. Finally, in basketball action at the University Exhibition, the Brandon University Bobcats 109 over the Regina Rogues 94. And that wraps up our look at news, weather, and sports for this evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Jamie Aiken. Have a good evening.